All right, we're live. We're good to go. Happy Monday. Thanks to everybody for tuning in today. Appreciate y'all for being here. Please give it a thumbs up on your way in. God bless you all. Um, we're going to start with this image you see right in front of you. I want to just remind everybody that today is the 2-year anniversary of Event 201. I don't think they want you to even know about it, much less remember it. That this was a high-level pandemic simulation where they got together and planned what government would do and how they would respond if a novel coronavirus pandemic happened to break out, in which it coincidentally did not even 2 months after they held this event. The first cases popped up. As I've covered, China purchased a bunch of tests ahead of time. China seemed to be prepared for said event in case it were to happen. And next thing you know, it leaked from that lab in Wuhan, China, and the rest is history. So don't want anybody to forget that October 18th of 2019 is when they held this pandemic simulation. And lo and behold, here we are 2 years later. And this is the situation we're in right now. And so I don't want people to lose sight of that fact that the Johns Hopkins Institute, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and the World Economic Forum put this thing on. And they just had amazing foresight. They just happened to know that, we were going to be faced with this virus. Now that we got that very important detail out of the way, let's talk Colin Powell. Colin Powell, his death was announced today. Probably not related to it being the anniversary of Event 201, but nonetheless, it would provide a distraction from anybody trying to raise awareness of the fact that they kind of telegraphed this plan ahead of time, even though they were saying no, they were talking about it coming from a pig and 65 million people would die. Yeah, the fact checkers, they know how to finesse and keep people in a fog to where they're not connecting dots and putting this all together, that this was by design. So anyway, Colin Powell, let me just say this right off the bat. Rest in peace to Colin Powell. And, he has family that's grieving right now. I told you guys last week, I'm not here to slam dunk on somebody who is on the verge of death or dead. I'm just not going to do it. It's just, there's no point. I saw people in the comments like, screw Colin Powell, let him die. It's like, you got to deal with that hatred in your heart. You got a lot of hatred in your heart if that's the first thing that comes to mind. I'm not even going to talk much about was he a good person or a bad person? I'm just covering it because it's the top story, right? And of course, the elephant in the room, he was fully vaccinated. So that's what I'm going to be focused on. But I still wanted to say rest in peace. I mean, you can't take away what he accomplished. His politics aside, I'm not really a fan of his bashing Trump, neoconservative, Iraq war, push, weapons of mass destruction. He came from the old guard, the George Bush era of the GOP. So, I mean, that kind of is what it is. That was going on when I was a kid anyway, so I don't really have that strong feeling of it now the way I would have back then. Or I don't have the strong feeling about it because I didn't, I wasn't an adult then. So it is what it is. I know people feel some type of way, might even downvote the video because I said rest in peace. Like, how dare you be a good person and say that? Like, would it be better if I just railed on him and just talked negatively about him? Okay. Anyway, Colin Powell dead at age 84. Now, his family released a statement saying that he died from COVID complications and that he was fully vaccinated. And that's what's interesting about that. If you look at the Facebook post right here, underneath, Facebook had to put one of those little disclaimers, didn't they? Visit the COVID-19 Information Center for vaccine resources. So, in light of somebody who was fully vaccinated and died of COVID complications, they use this as an opportunity to direct traffic to information about the vaccine, which is basically a sales pitch of why you should get it. And it's been ruled safe and effective. Safe and effective. That's their slogan, right? And now I get it, obviously. Colin Powell is 84 years old. He also had blood cancer and I believe Parkinson's disease. So in reality, who's to say that he really died from those from COVID when it could have been those? It could have been the other underlying conditions he had. I just think it's really like, what are they doing when the media reports this? I get it; they're going off of his official Facebook post and his family statements, but when they push out in their headlines and highlight that he was fully vaccinated, what does that do to the confidence or lack thereof of people who have not been vaccinated yet? The more we hear about these stories, and I can only speak for myself, the more I hear about these stories, the less I am feeling good about getting it. I'm not going to, because look at the number of people. For as much as they say, breakthrough cases are extremely rare, we sure are hearing a lot about breakthrough cases. I mean, Jesse Jackson was hospitalized, him and his wife. You had Oscar De La Hoya. You had other people who were fully vaccinated that have been hospitalized due to this virus. And it just doesn't make sense. If it's so rare, why are we hearing so many stories about this? I'm just saying it doesn't look very good. But at the same time, saying that he died from the virus also helps them to promote the idea that this is still a very serious, dangerous pandemic. Look how many people died from this, right? There was the controversy last year where I forget her job title, but she's like the health official or whatever of Illinois, Chicago, maybe. I don't know if she was city or state, but anyway, her statement was that people who died from other things, if they tested positive, that would be counted as a COVID death. Remember that? There's a whole video about it, or a press conference or whatever, where she made that statement that they were purposely inflating the number. So I think we may be beyond them trying to inflate the numbers, because I mean, the number's so high, it's kind of like it basically becomes almost irrelevant at one point. Like it loses its potency. But they could still continue. Look, it took out Colin Powell. Like, if I get it, he's a high profile public figure. A lot of people know him. They have to report on it. But like, high profile cases don't help, especially when the person in question was fully vaccinated. It does not help with them continuing to push the narrative that we're in a pandemic of the unvaccinated. There's no, like, where's that coming from? Where is that coming from? I haven't seen any studies from it, right? And I'm not trying to spread some medical misinformation here. I'm just simply saying they keep calling it a pandemic of the unvaccinated. Fauci himself, just about a couple hours ago, I think it could have been from Sunday, he was making his rounds in the media like he always does. And he made a statement that says, we could be headed for a fifth wave because of the unvaccinated. But you just don't hear many stories about this. You only hear that it's vaccinated people that are going to the hospital. And now in Colin Powell's case, dying, whether that be from the virus itself or the health conditions that he had, complications, battling Parkinson's and blood cancer. I mean, that sounds pretty serious for even a young person to have blood cancer, let alone be 84 years old, and who knows whatever else he may have been dealing with that has not come out. But here's what I know. Out of all of this is what I know. They are going to use his funeral as a platform, a launch pad to attack you, to attack Trump, to attack Americans, to push their propaganda. I'm almost certain it's going to happen. How do I know that? Because they did the same thing with John McCain. They did it with, I think it was Gladys Knight that passed away. Whenever somebody who has come out against Trump or against this fringe far right movement that has come up in the GOP, which we know it's not fringe, but that's another story. Whenever somebody comes out and stands in favor of protecting the old guard, the old rhino establishment GOP, then that's safe for the leftist media to honor them and act like they were just so amazing, when back in the day they didn't like Colin Powell because he was a black conservative, black Republican, just like they don't like Condoleezza Rice. The same thing. But since he was anti-Trump, now you'll probably see, a bunch of people say like, oh, what a great man he was. And he's so blah, 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 blah. He stood for something, just like they did with John McCain. It was so fake. They hated John McCain. He was Lucifer to them until he was against Trump. So I just, that's my prediction. I think that if it's a televised funeral, I think you'll see sound bites, clips of maybe George Bush or somebody else using it as an opportunity to take shots at you. That's what will happen. That's what has been happening. That's what they used the 9/11 memorial speech for, to take shots at you, to talk about January 6th. Colin Powell had an official statement against January 6th. That's when he left the Republican Party and registered as an independent, which is a true story. He left the GOP after January 6th because that's just enough. So that's what I think about the Colin Powell situation. Rest in peace to the man. I mean, his family is grieving. No matter what you think of him, he has children and grandchildren that were not involved in whatever he did. His role as Secretary of State with weapons of mass destruction. People are mourning a loved one. And I mean, doesn't the left kind of do that? Like dunk on people because they died and you didn't like them. Like they mocked Herman Cain's death. They make fun of other conservatives who have died. I mean, they mocked Rush Limbaugh. They're happy. They celebrate death. So sorry to disappoint anybody who might think that I should be celebrating Colin Powell's death or dunking on him in one way or another. Just not going to do it. So anyway, let's talk about this story right here. Now look at this right here. Okay. This is Pete Buttigieg with his spouse and their twins that they adopted. I thought men could give birth, but I guess adoption is quicker for them. So anyway, they're sitting in a hospital bed, and this photo is old, like not that old, but this photo was, I think, posted on social media over the summer when he officially adopted his two kids. The reason why I'm sharing this photo right now is because they're laid up in a hospital bed, which this is all about the subconscious programming of the idea that, men can give birth. Like going on paternity leave for over 2 months. He's been on, I think he might be back now. The backlash was just growing. Now he's making rounds in the media. He's resurfaced. But he went on paternity leave in August. And I looked into it to see who, like Secretary of State, like people who work on the White House staff, how long do they normally get paid leave when they have a life event like a newborn? And it's usually only a couple weeks. But Pete Buttigieg got 2 months, and he's only coming back now or surfacing now, talking now, because of the crisis at our ports, our supply chain gridlock, the bottleneck, the whole situation regarding empty store shelves. So now he's coming back out. But the point is, he went into paternity leave when I thought that if you needed that much time off, it's probably because you're healing from giving birth. I understand some father. I think it's important to take the time off when you have a newborn at home, obviously, because I have one. But when you have a job that's so important as he does, Secretary of Transportation, you got to put your service to the people who elected the person who appointed you. You got to put that first. And to take 2 months off, I think is a disgrace. But he, of course, is doubling down on it and saying that, this is important. It's all just about an appeal to emotion. Look, it's because, new children come into the world. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. But this is some woke garbage right here. I'm just going to call it like I see it, you guys. This is woke trash. And that's why this image right here does nothing more than try to promote the idea that men can get pregnant. Like why are you in this hospital bed? And this is during a pandemic, by the way. I'm just saying, I don't understand why. If there was a shortage of hospital beds, you could be getting them from the ward of the hospital where they deliver babies. I'm just saying. Maybe that's a reach, but not really. When you consider everything that they've been saying, all this panic, they've been pushing the panic button around the clock, fear mongering, but you got time for a photo op at a hospital using a bed, this staged situation when everybody knows neither of you were in the hospital to have the baby. So that's kind of crazy to come out of this 2-month long paternity leave when you are supposed to be, managing the transportation, which I've said already that I think the majority of this is by design to just create more turmoil in the country, more economic hardship, just to continue twisting the knife in Americans after everything we've dealt with over the last couple of years. I think that this is all by design. Why didn't he take care of this before he went on paternity leave? Why? Right? I get it. It's a private sector situation, but at the same time, you guys are responsible for transportation. If there's a problem, you need to be on top of it. And of course, they're more focused on social issues like, adopting twins and then staying home for 2 months for whatever reason. When you could get childcare, you can get all this other stuff. I'm just saying, these people are so dishonest, it'll just make your head spin. So there's that. Speaking of transportation and government mismanagement, over 140 school bus routes are being canceled in Seattle on Monday due to driver shortages caused by vaccine mandates. So they're not really doing it for the children, even though it's for the children's safety, supposedly. So the governor, Jay Inslee, has mandated vaccines for all state workers and contractors, which includes bus drivers. Over 100 bus drivers are expected to be fired on Monday for not complying. See, this is all so bad. From the point of fully vaccinated people being hospitalized, getting these breakthrough cases, which are supposedly rare, the push for these mandates, and everybody needs to get it. But then you're also showing these news stories, and we're hearing about people who are still getting sick. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. You got people like Kyrie Irving, you got NFL players, you got all kind of people who are being alienated from their profession, people being fired because they haven't gotten this medical procedure. And of course, it's got all these other unintended consequences. Now kids are affected by this. 7,000 students roughly will be impacted by, just in one city. This is going on around the country. 7,000 students are going to be affected by the route cancellation. And then you're going to put at least 140 people out of work. And for what? For what? I mean, you're just creating more economic hardship in your own city, your own state. Some schools are resorting to trying to get school children passes for public transportation to solve the problem that the governor created. But I imagine public transportation is the same thing. You're mandating vaccines for bus drivers and they're not complying. And as a result, you're firing them, creating a shortage, artificial shortage that you created. And then you turn around and say, it's because of the vaccine. It's because of the virus. This mismanagement, everything the government touches gets ruined. It's just, you can't make this up. So kids aren't going to be able to get to school now. And hey, maybe that's a blessing in disguise. I don't know. Depending on what school they're going to and what kind of garbage they might be learning, since they don't just teach, basic education stuff like math, reading, writing, science. They don't teach that. Now it's teaching ideology. So maybe kids are avoiding ideology, but I really don't know. I can't speak on that because I'm not familiar with the schools in Washington State. I'm just saying this is kind of messed up here. And you're putting people out of work. Hard-working Americans, putting them out of work because they won't jab their arm. Jay Inslee is my state's governor, and what a terrible tyrant he is. He had major TDS and cares about nothing but climate change. Boeing workers and their families and friends are protesting. Yeah, I heard about that. Thank you for the super chat, Charles. I did hear about that. Boeing employees have staged a protest against these mandates. These mandates are so wrong. I could talk ad nauseum about them, but I won't because I've covered it so much. You guys know how wrong this is to threaten people's livelihoods and disguise it as, well, we're giving you a choice. You can choose to put food on the table by getting our medicine. We're creating this, ultimatum for you, or you can just be fired and struggle. Sorry about it. And this is coming from the governor of Washington, just his opinion. We're just going to do it because I said so. These people have such a bloodlust for power. It's not just Boeing, also Southwest. I saw a protest outside of Southwest headquarters in, I think, Dallas, where employees, pilots, everybody's out there protesting against these mandates. And instead of them rolling back the mandates, they're just doubling down. That's how you know they don't care about getting back to normal. They don't care about health. They don't care about you, your livelihood. How many POCs that they claim to care about and love so much? We just love the minorities. We love immigrants. We love all these people. How many of them are you firing? How many of them are being let go? Where's BLM? Where's all the woke activism? As you're probably firing quite a few people who work in these jobs. You're forcing economic hardship on Black families. I'm just saying that they like to play the identity politics game. That's why I'm saying it. That's why I'm bringing it up. That's why I bring race into it, because they're going against everything that they say when they enforce these mandates. I'm willing to bet there's quite a few Black, brown, Asian, whatever you want to call them, POC bus drivers that are being affected by this. Not to mention the kids that they transport every day. So next you're going to put them on public transportation. I don't get it. You get woke, you go broke. Crazy, crazy stuff. Here's a surprise for you guys. Shocker. Loudoun County prosecutor who attempted to jail father of raped daughter is Soros-funded radical. Yep, that is correct. Loudoun County Commonwealth Attorney, I can't really pronounce this, Buddha Babaraj, Buddha Babaraj, was described in the explosive report by the Daily Wire as the progressive elected county prosecutor who ran on a platform of ending mass incarceration. But yet she sought jail time for disorderly conduct and resisting arrest, both misdemeanor charges against Scott Smith. So Scott Smith is the father of the daughter who was raped by a dude wearing a dress who went into her bathroom. They covered it up so that they could pass the ability for boys, men to put on dresses and go into women's restrooms. So because they covered that up, because it would be damaging to their agenda, they transferred the boy to another school where he reoffended and raped another girl. So 2 victims out of this. And now you find out it's a woke George Soros funded prosecutor that is seeking charges against him, but also wants to decriminalize a bunch of other stuff and pass all this bail reform and everything else. So this prosecutor was one of several Soros-backed prosecutors elected, maybe that was a Freudian slip, in Northern Virginia in 2019 after her campaign received more than $860,000 from George Soros's Justice and Public Safety PAC. So just like the prosecutor in Chicago, Kim Foxx, who didn't want to prosecute gang members involved in a shootout on camera, just like that, you got this prosecutor that is political, targeting this man because he goes against their agenda. And I'm still waiting for confirmation, I'm sure it'll come soon, that the prosecutors in, I think it was Arlington, Texas, wherever that school shooting was a couple weeks ago, where the school shooter got released the next day and wasn't even charged with attempted murder. how that slipped through the cracks, how that went unprosecuted as a attempted murder at the minimum, how that didn't pass and how he got let go is beyond me. But hey, I'm willing to bet it's a Soros-backed prosecutor, just like all last year, all that chaos, all of those rioters that got bailed out. That's all Soros money bailing them out. Prosecutors soft on crime, therefore crime increases. So the confirmation is in on this prosecutor in Loudoun County trying to arrest a man for, standing up for his kid that got raped. Shame on him. Must be a crazy right winger. That's probably what he is. So let's lock him up for trespassing, but then let criminals go who actually commit heinous crimes. Probably like the kid who raped his daughter. Moving along, I think, oh yeah, this is a good one. West Virginia is cracking down on the original version of the Let's Go Brandon chants. You know what I'm saying? The original version. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they just said in a statement, they wrote this letter. Over the last several weeks, we have heard too many stories of selfish, inappropriate, and embarrassing student behavior at home football games. What we have heard falls short of Virginia Tech standards and, most importantly, creates an unsafe environment for all who attend. You hear that? When you chant FJB, it creates an unsafe environment. It's not a safe space. You're not allowed to do that. So how are they going to crack down? How do you crack down restricting speech? Well, the Student Alliance for Hokies games will be restricted to season ticket holders and more limited number of student lottery winners. And students will have to follow new guidance for gate entry, whatever that means. There will also be more law enforcement officers on hand to support a positive and safe fan experience. So, translation, you're not allowed to go to a Virginia Tech home game unless you are a Biden supporter. You're not allowed to chant things that aren't approved by the university. Well, that's a new precedent. But I'm willing to bet that if these students were chanting F Donald Trump, which they didn't, which is also another story, right? You never saw college stadiums packed to the capacity, tens of thousands of people yelling anything about Trump. But I'm willing to bet if they were, there would be no crackdown at all. You wouldn't hear anything about it. The school would say nothing about it. You guys kind of know how this goes, right? But at the same time, they're going to crack down on students now. And I don't know how they're going to do it. Like, what are you going to do when they eventually just chant it anyway? How are you going to vet the people going into the stadium? We're going to have a strict lottery admittance. You have to win a lottery to be able to go. So now they're going to interrogate you ahead of time to see if your tendencies are high or low to chant, to engage in, group chanting. I just think this is a funny story. They're desperate to try to cover this up. They're tired of these college stadiums shouting. But most importantly, freedom of speech. A direct target on freedom of speech. You're not allowed to criticize or say anything that they see as unsafe about Hunter Biden's dad. You can't say anything bad about him. So I wonder if they're going to crack down on the Let's Go Brandon chants next. I don't know. So far, I haven't heard college stadiums chanting Let's Go Brandon. But I'm seeing the signs. I am seeing the signs everywhere. Canadian and t-shirts too. So in Canada, of course, Canada's they gotta outdo us. They're much further along in their authoritarian overreach than we are. Not by much, but they're further along. Canadian government bans employees from saying, "Let's go Brandon." And this is a letter with official, Canadian government letterhead where they spell out exactly what you're not allowed to do. It says a letter from the Canadian government to employees dated October 14th was posted online by Peter McCaffrey, the president of the Alberta Institute. It said it was a formal notification that the phrase "Let's go Brandon" in any form is banned by the Canadian Public Service. You're not allowed to say "Let's go Brandon" because the word is out. It went global. First, the FJB went global. And now, for the people that were like really against that, Now, hey, you got something better. You got Let's Go Brandon, something that's family friendly. And it's the perfect inside joke. If you know, you know. And anybody that doesn't know, they don't get it. They hear it, they see it a bunch, they see it on shirts, they see it on social media. They'll just look up, what does it mean? Let's Go Brandon. And then that wonderful video will surface. So they created this monster, and now they're mad because they can't reel it in. So they're desperately trying to reel it in. Really? You're not allowed to say, let's go Brandon. How pathetic. So the use of colloquialism or saying with intended double meaning or offense are strictly prohibited in all means of correspondence and or communication. This is what the letter said. The letter further stated that it is a zero tolerance issue that will result in dismissal without recourse or labor union representation. So you won't even get labor union representation if you're caught saying the dangerous and deadly and unsafe phrase of let's go Brandon. How long before YouTube starts flagging videos for saying let's go Brandon? So let's go Brandon is the new phrase that has been outlawed now. How much further will they go with this? And by the way, there are approximately 300,450 employees working under the CPS. So that's a lot of people you just told that they cannot use the 3 words, let's go Brandon. I just have a feeling there'll be some kind of backlash to that. I can't see people complying with that. Saying, you're not allowed to say this phrase. Explain yourself. Why can't we say it? Why can't we say it? I just wonder. I was going to play this video but I already kind of covered it. And I'm not going to do this to you guys on Monday. I'm not going to play a video of Fauci flapping his gums, blaming the unvaccinated and fear-mongering about a 5th wave of COVID and how it's your fault if you're unvaccinated. But that's what this video is about in this this article here, is that he's saying, there's a dangerous 5th wave that could come. So he's already just like planning the future winter lockdowns or something, just telling you, hey, there's going to be a 5th wave coming. So don't be surprised if you start seeing lockdowns come this winter, dark winter, as Hunter Biden's dad said. Dark winter. Don't be surprised when this Branch Covidian Jim Jones cult leader right here is now saying, yeah, we're going to now have basically a 5th wave, and we're still using our boogeyman, the unvaccinated. So, of course, as I covered at the beginning, Colin Powell just passed away, fully vaccinated. Oscar De La Hoya was fully vaccinated and hospitalized. Jesse Jackson and other people that aren't coming to mind right now, but plenty of fully vaccinated people have got the virus. I know people who are fully vaccinated that got the virus. So you can't make it make sense no matter how much you tried. Remember, nothing is impossible in this clown world matrix that we're in right now. So yeah, I'm skipping past that. I think I'm almost through all my topics. Honestly, guys, this was a quick one today. Oh, I guess we could talk about the 4 killed, 20 wounded in Chicago shootings over the weekend, including an 11-year-old accidentally shot by another child. Sad. They only tell you what happens in Chicago over the weekend, right? Another violent, bloody, and deadly weekend in Chicago as 56 people are shot over 48 hours. It's like, what about the other 5 days of the week? Why don't you total those numbers up? They report this every Monday. They've been doing this for years, and it's so bad in America's 3rd largest city that people just tune it out. We're just numb to it. I got to admit, I'm numb to it as well. It's really just crazy that the deaths are they're so great. Like, there's so many of them, so many shootings in just one city, our 3rd largest. They report on it, and you just move on with your day after you hear about it. But good thing the Chicago Police Union president estimates more than 3,000 officers are defying the city's vaccine reporting mandate. So they're basically about to lose a third of their workforce because they're not complying with the governor, J.B. Pritzker's mandate. and I believe the city's mandate. I don't know which one they officially acknowledge, but from the city to the county to the state, they're trying to mandate officers get the virus, or sorry, get the vaccine. Was that another Freudian slip? Oops. Anyway, so they're estimating about 3,200 people are not compliant with the current mandate. So between defunding the police and forcing them to get this injection, they're going to lose all of their law enforcement. And of course, the city will just ultimately become more dangerous, more and more dangerous, as you got police officers resigning, getting fired, getting defunded, getting demoralized. And you got prosecutors that refuse to prosecute criminals and just say, hey, it was a mutual shootout between gangs. I mean, they both agreed to it. So there's not enough evidence to prosecute them, or just letting them out. They are, they're going to lose their workforce. And this is just Chicago, but I mean, it's all over the country. It's New York City, it's Philly, it's Seattle. There's a cop in Seattle that has a Gadsden flag on his window. The pushback is real. The rebellion is real, and it feels good, but is it too late? I don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen with all of these people that are resigning, from nurses and doctors to pilots and cops. You've got military pushing back against it. Pretty much in every industry, public or private sector, you've got hundreds of thousands, probably millions of people who are not on board with these evil, wicked mandates, and they're standing up for their rights and liberties, and I stand with them. If I could go to every single one of these protests, I would. Civil disobedience. We need massive, nonviolent, noncompliance all over the country, and I hope to see it grow. I'd like to see it grow to the size of the ones in Italy, Spain. They're all over Europe. That's the only way we can keep ourselves from becoming Australia. You know? Hold on. Let me get to the comments here in a second. I wanted to make one other point on the Pete Buttigieg thing, but it kind of slipped my mind. Oh, yeah, just how Biden is saying, Christmas, there's not going to be a lot of things available for Christmas, but not trying to fix it. His, Secretary of Transportation is sitting at home with his babies, on paternity leave. Can't make it up. All right, let's get to the comments. Only 37 minutes in. Okay, I see a comment that says Kick Rock CFG. Who is CFG? CFG says, if you have a Gadsden flag, don't talk to me. Oh, so you don't approve of Gadsden flag? Oh, you don't have his approval. Seems like you might be spamming a little bit there. BLM, BLM, BLM. I ain't going to worry about it because I got the best moderators on the internet. All I say is behave yourself in there. Don't get crazy. You get kicked out of my chat real quick. Y'all are group confident only CFG. I don't know what's going on in the chat here, guys, but I'll interact for a little bit before I get off of here. But what's going on? What else have I not covered that came out over the weekend? Again, the big story is obviously Colin Powell dying at age 84 from COVID complications. He was fully vaccinated, but he also had Parkinson's and blood cancer. So I really don't know. Really don't know what to make of how it's being reported. I just know, like I said, it's going to be used as a platform for polarization and division, just like they use everything else to push politics. Bill Clinton is not in the hospital anymore. He got out. Slick Willie is out. Do you think we'll ever go back to normal in this country? Well, you could argue that we weren't completely normal before all of this, but it's hard to say. I think depends on where you are in the country. Some areas will never return. Some people will never return. Some people will cover their face for the rest of their lives. Some people have been so shell shocked from all of the fear they've been programmed with over the last 2 years almost that they're never going to come back to normal. So just get used to that, unfortunately. Some areas are going to make their whatever they've done to reorganize how their city or state operates, whatever they've done, they're going to make that permanent. So I can see that. So, but if you're anything like me, nothing ever changed for you. I never changed, right? I admitted this. I think the very first week of COVID, before when I was trying to piece everything together, I think this was like after they like canceled March Madness and all this stuff and people started to freak out and panic. I think the first time I went out to the grocery store, I think we did actually quarantine our groceries. Felt really stupid afterwards. Sanitizing all the doorknobs. Look, some of the changes that have been made are great. I'd like to see some of the changes permanent. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world if people who are handling your food have to wear a mask. I don't think that that's the worst thing in the world, honestly. Chefs, cooks, I mean, they got to wear hairnets. I just think there's nothing really wrong with that. So it is what it is with that. Contactless deliveries and pickups and even contactless payment, I think went through the roof. I think that was a good thing. I see hand sanitizer everywhere now. At gas pumps, I mean, think about how dirty a gas pump is. I think that's pretty good. I think that's good to have hand sanitizer stands everywhere when you go into a grocery store or a restaurant. So some of the changes are good. Mike, can you do a reaction to the song This Is War from High Res? That's something different, and I think people will enjoy it. I haven't heard it yet. I'm not real big on doing, I guess I've never done it before, doing like reaction videos. I know some people, there's a whole like genre of YouTubers that do nothing but reaction videos. Like they'll take a Tom McDonald song and do reaction video to it, and they get a whole audience for it. So I will check out the song though, and if it's good, I'll pass it along. I'll share it, but I haven't heard it yet, so I can't do a reaction to it. Bring back full serve gas stations. I eat at home. It's safer. Will you be at the next Trump rally? Yeah, I sure will be at the next Trump rally as soon as it's announced. And honestly, I don't know if that will be before the end of the year. It's possible that he may announce one for November. Mike Nificent, you are the best thing that ever happened to RSBN. Oh man, thank you. I wouldn't go that far, but I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I mean, it's definitely a blessing to be a part of that company and watch it grow. It's grown a lot since I've been there. It's very big now. I mean, it's way more of a known commodity in the conservative movement. Would love you to play the Let's Go Brandon song from Bryson, curse free music. I don't know if I can actually do that without getting a copyright thing. And honestly, that would take away from what Bryson is doing. Like if I played his song here, you could actually go to his, I'm assuming it's on his YouTube channel, and he would get paid if you watched it via him versus me. So I'm not going to do that. You and Liz are my favorite hosts. We do get that a lot. People do like me and Liz. Liz has been there the longest. And I think of the correspondents that are active right now, I think I've been there the second longest. So we might be the most known. The more germs, the better our immune system is. That's what I think. That's true. But at the same time, if you can avoid things that are overly disgusting, like gas pumps, I mean, I think that's a good thing. Something that doesn't get sanitized very often, if at all, would be like gas pumps, door handles, elevator buttons. I think it's important to wash your hands before you eat, of course. I mean, these are things that were instilled in me from an early age. So I'd never been like a germaphobe, like grabbing door handles with my sleeves and everything. Some people go overboard with their trying not to get sick, and therefore those are the people that get sick the most. The people that try not to get sick tend to get sick more than people who just live normally. I do think it's a little weird to overly focus on germs, trying not to get sick instead of just trying to be healthy. What you focus on expands. Buy I can't talk. Buy Bryson's songs for $1 on iTunes. Oh man, try cleaning hotel rooms. I think honestly, plumbers probably have the strongest immune system. Everybody should have the immune system of a plumber. Mike Nificent, thank you for speaking truth. Well, thank you for supporting truth. Mike, have you met Wayne Dupree? He had COVID, got the antibodies, and now he's fine. I have not formally met him, but he follows me on Twitter, and I've seen him I think I saw him at CPAC. I was actually trying to interview him at CPAC, but he never got back to me. Ah, well. Have you, hold on, let me proofread this before I say it out loud. No, Zachary, I have not read that about COVID. No. But all I'm saying is, man, there's a smoking gun with that situation, the origins of that virus. Scientists of Pfizer not getting vaccine, natural immunity is, they say, better. Supposedly. I don't think so. Wink, wink. Trying to tread lightly here. Pretty soon, guys, I won't be able to say, let's go, Brandon. I mean, it's a matter of time. You won't be able to say it. Virginia Tech doesn't want you saying it. They don't want you saying the real thing either. Good thing I'm far away from Canada. They're going to start banning that. Let's see. Thank you, DM, for posting the links. Thoughts on DHS loophole? Illegals get to stay by just saying, I'm scared to go back. I think there's so many loopholes for people that cross the border illegally, that it's hard to even document them all. And it's not just people that are trying to, seek a better life, like economic migrants, people that, and other than crossing our border illegally, are law abiding. Other than those people, I think there's too many loopholes in place for the violent criminals that get deported, which is one of the biggest reasons you need a wall. Violent criminals get deported, come right back in, MS-13, all of them. And then on top of that, you got sanctuary cities, which just act as criminal empowerment zones for violent, reoffending criminals from other countries. So, I mean, that other one of just, I'm afraid to go back, that's like small potatoes compared to violent criminals getting hard passes and just, they're getting like the soft treatment. 187 likes. Let's get Mike to 200. Yes, please. Everybody watching right now, give it a thumbs up. Please. Can't stress that enough. The easiest thing you can do to help this channel is just give it a thumbs up every time. 100% of the time. If you give it a thumbs up, then we're good money. I'm seeing that my content is starting to circulate again. Some people, we have new friends in the neighborhood, and apparently they were on YouTube and got recommended one of my videos, which I wonder if they were already watching similar content, because how else would it be recommended? You have to be watching probably something political, or at least something where uh, people are talking about a particular topic. We need a good Chi Winnie the Pooh meme to go viral. Those are banned in China. I don't think you can do the Winnie the Pooh memes. Freedom dies if you comply. I can't write the word pedophile on YouTube. Yes, you did. You just did it. What else? I thought that there might be another like story or something. I'm sure that there is. There's always some other crazy story going on in the world. So I'm just gonna. What's my one of my go-tos? Let's just see what's on the Daily Mail. Rioters tore through Portland, causing more than $500,000 worth of damage, but cops did nothing because woke new law stops them using pepper spray or tear gas. Angry residents ask, does that mean we are now like a lawless city? Yeah, that's exactly what it means. I don't even cover these stories anymore because it's so widespread now. I mean, how long has Portland been dealing with this? They obviously like it. They embrace it. The majority of people in Portland are either not are completely powerless, or the majority of people really support this. They're okay with it. I don't know how, but that's for Portland to deal with. Portland, you got to deal with it. San Francisco, that's your deal. None of that happens anywhere in Florida, even in the liberal cities. People talk about, you guys got really liberal cities, Miami and Orlando. It's like, none of that happens in Orlando. For as liberal as the cities are in Florida, they're not leftists. They're not. You got leftists in the cities, but they don't run the city. They're not like letting all this violence and chaos and rioting go on. A lot of this probably due to our governor too. He talks about Colin Powell. More talks about how he was fully vaccinated. Fully vaccinated. They want you to know that. But then at the same time, they're cramming down mandates and firing people. It just two completely conflicting messages. What are we supposed to do with that? What are you supposed to do with that information? Fully vaccinated people die, but if you don't get that same thing, that same medical procedure, you're fired. And also, there's a pandemic of people like you. You're making our country worse. You're dangerous and unsafe. Clown world. China tested a nuclear-capable hypersonic missile. Yeah, I heard about that. It supposedly surpasses our capabilities to detect it or something like that. But of course, China's denying it, and they're saying we're only doing this because we're about to go ahead and seize Taiwan and the South China Sea. So I think that's what China's doing. I don't really know. I can't really say much else about it other than that's crazy. China has a missile that circled the globe. Yeah, that's a part of it. I think that is big news. Absolutely. I'm surprised some of these bigger news outlets aren't covering it. China. I'm just typing it in to the old search engine here and see what we get. China set sights on Taiwan with new hypersonic missile test. So I don't know if that's just, a propaganda outlet for China, like most of the media. China denies reports claiming it launched hypersonic missile. China's economic growth weakens amid construction slowdown. I guess I don't know enough about I would have to like read a whole article about it before I could give you any real commentary on it. Other than I could just say that China is the greatest geopolitical threat we face. Their goal is to become a superpower, the superpower. They want to have the reserve currency and the economic status. They want to be the political model, the social model. They want to be the most technologically advanced, medically advanced, militarily advanced nation on earth. And their goal is to do it by 2050, which is the 100-year anniversary of Mao's revolution. Wasn't that wonderful? That great leap forward. They are denying it because everyone is saying it missed by 30 miles. Watch Fauci is going to say we hit herd immunity to save Biden's numbers. Don't buy into Biden's numbers, okay? Let me tell you something. His numbers aren't real. They never were real. To acknowledge that his numbers are plummeting is to also acknowledge that his numbers were at one point high. They never were. This is all fake. So you can't save his numbers when he was rigged in there to begin with. At least that's my opinion on it. I don't see anything else, guys. And I'm definitely not going to drag this out just for the sake of going a full hour, which we are basically at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap at this point right now. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Please give it a thumbs up. Please share it. God bless you all for being here. Make sure that if you're new, you subscribe and hit the bell notification for all notifications so you don't miss a live stream. Make sure you're also sub to my second channel, Mike Nificent 813. Search that. It should pop right up. Sub to that and hit the bell notifications. Find me on Telegram. I post a lot on Telegram. Mike Nificent 813. I'm on Getter under just Mike Nificent. I'm on Clout Hub. I'm on every single one of these social media platforms except Facebook and Instagram. Shout out to the moderators for cleaning up the trolls whenever they pop up. I think that's it, guys. So yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with more of this crazy far right extremist content that's just so dangerous. All right. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Catch you in tomorrow's stream. Remember, Epstein didn't kill himself. I'll catch you in the next stream.